All right, we now want to head on over to Radisson Blue in Upper Hill here in Nairobi, where we will be joined by our reporter Kamche Menza, who is covering the parliamentary committee meeting. Let's take a listen.
The voices, possibly we can come to the root cause of all these issues and we have a very, very clear picture. We had cases, we have leaders who have gone to functions and denounced results. I think the most important thing is that it is good to listen to those voices. When there is such a voice, it is good to go to that place and listen to that voice and get the information. Otherwise, my take would be all the tables, the Appendix 1, Appendix 2, the figures might not give us a very clear. We cannot give a conclusive answer to all this if we are just basing on just what is being provided as figures. That's my...
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Bisairo.
Thank you.
Bisairo first. Order if.
I thought you were going this way.
No, it's Bisairo.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Bwana CS, for the responses given. But as this committee sits here, I think we are trying to look on how to save the future generation of our children. It's not a case of pointing fingers. And one of the questions I wanted to ask has been asked by my good colleague Nabwera on entry behavior for any school that has an abnormal deviation. If we could have that, it could guide the committee on the report. Number two is in your responses, you did mention that some principals who have a good track record on performing when they go to another school, we do expect the same. My worry is that in these exams, school principals are also center managers. So they're actually the ones on top of the oversight of that exam in that center. This is a case of a teacher knowing he's competing, where he came from, they were performing well. Can this lead to this center manager compromising his own institution? And that's where the biggest worry is, because I'm competing with my neighbor and I'm in charge of this center. What stops me from, compromising myself? Lastly, there was an exam done, because we are not looking only at Form 4. We had KBC exams. If they were released, the results, I'm not sure if they were, but I assume they were released. If they were released, Bwana CS, would the ministry adopt the same way you released those exams to all other exams? The fanfare that you put into these exams release is part of the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Waziri, and now respond.
Thank you.
Order if. We'll have another set of questions. Yes. Yes, Waziri, respond.
Yeah, thank you. Some of the questions, particularly the CAF, my technical officer, the CEO and the PS will take us through that so that they are able to answer in a technical manner. But one area that I would like to touch on, Chairperson, is that the administration of the exams. There are various levels. We have invigilators, we have the center manager, we have supervisors, we have officers from the ministry and other departments also moving around. We have all these set of officers. Really, we are so open, Chairperson, in including the examiners. For anybody to come and say, at the reader stage, that there is intimidation sign that he will not be able to report a crime, and then he comes at the reader stage saying, now I'm here reporting, I think that requires to be investigated further. There are cases which, like 2021, and I think we did come with remedial measures because the number of cases which I found out that had been reported to the Directorate of Criminal Intelligence. Some were not taken up, some the cases had been in court, but further prosecution is like it never took place properly, and we had several meetings, actually at the very top level, with my colleague in internal security, with the ICT, and we were able to come up with remedial measures concerning cases that we were able to get this particular year, and I think part of the answer will be in 2 and 3. I would say the curve will be explained by my 2 technical officers. Nakuru were principals. Now, if you were a failure, probably your mini score was below bar, what do you celebrate? So, if they also say there was no cause for celebration, it means they must be having reasons. The expectations probably from the teachers, from the students, from the parents was not a sign that they will be able to hold a celebration. Because, you know, when somebody comes up saying that, it's also better to investigate and say, yes, why is he able to investigate this? Why is he not able to do this? Quietly in some forum, national principals have a forum, a WhatsApp group, and sometimes I am privy to the kind of information, the competition which goes on, some question, but when you look at the basis of the information, you know it is from that point of personal, why did that one perform better than me without any such basis. The only area, members of parliament, where we had a problem with the examiners during the marking was St. Francis, Mangu, the ones who were marking CRE paper 2, paper 1, and I realized there was a problem in that particular center. I personally went to St. Francis Mangu to dialogue and to engage with the examiners. Almost half of them agreed we did engage. They said the amount of money they were being paid is 50 per script, or 55 per script. They wanted to be paid 70 as Kiswahili teachers, and we did discuss with those who agreed for us to dialogue and discuss, and we agreed that yes, you had signed a contract, and the contract clearly said 55. The amount of money which has been budgeted for, that we have been given, is this much, and going forward, we have heard your sentiments. We will be able to revise, and I think it is indicated.